Por dentro da mansão construída na beira de um precipício. É isso. Pô, irmão, não tem. Pô, eu vou falar, é óbvio que não, né? Começa a praticar luta, entra no desafio assim você entra sem pagar. É... Eu acho que eu vou continuar fazendo live pra poder um dia pagar sem ter problemas. Eu acho que essa, a segunda opção é melhor. Só de pensar, irmão, já tá maluco. Pô, irmão, não tem como ser triste numa casa dessa aqui, velho. Papo reto.
I wanted to make sure that the materials, the palette,
Caralho, olha essa parte de fora, irmão. Olha isso aqui, cara. Puta que pariu. Simples, perfeito.
character of the house was responsive to the site. It's not often that you're building on top of a 40-foot tall stone wall. Hi, I'm Stephen Harris. I am the architect of the Bedford Quarry House. It is within an hour of New York,
Foda.
but it feels like you could be in Montana. This was a functioning quarry, feldspar, rose quartz, things of that sort. The reason the quarry was abandoned was because they hit water. Many architects prefer working
Caralho, viado. Doideira.
nice, flat, buildable sites. I'm much more interested in difficult sites. I looked at it as this extraordinary geological opportunity and the fact that it
Foi bonitona, hein, mano.
had so much water in it and the vegetation and the trees were so beautiful.
Pô, esse barulhinho de cachoeira aí. Tu deitadão ali fora.
Around the site, there was a house on it.
Dia,
It
se Deus
was
quiser.
a very different house, and to be charitable, it had had a bit of deferred maintenance. We started over. We worked very hard to figure
Olha esse espaço de fora, mano. Não tem como ser ruim isso aqui, né?
out how the owner actually lives. It's a young family.
Eles são bem minimalistas,
Figuring
né?
out the site, where the light
Bem
is, where the
minimalistas.
wind is, how things operate over the course
Que
of the
combina
day.
muito com essa casa, né?
Almost 50 years ago, the
Uma casa dessa com CDI que por um mês sem poder sair. Caralho, irmão, pra que tu tá desejando mal pras pessoas, viado? Eu fiquei com eles 4 meses numa casa, porra, com mais gente.
Was that the process
Pelo menos
of
aqui eu
moving
trancava os dois dentro da casa e ficava ali fora, suave.
to another, one can parse and divide into stages, what he referred to as
Pô, aquilo ali é um deckzinho, dá pra vir lá de cima, será?
condition. That was one of the ambitions for this house. Taking from the approach, you see a glimpse of where you're going to go and a piece of the house, a kind of tease, if you will. Then you lose sight of it.
Eu ia levar de susto tudo de vidro no meio do mato, eu não vou mentir, tá? Mas eu tava pensando aqui, ó, imagina tu olha aqui pra baixo, aqui assim, ó, aqui, ó, no meio dessas duas árvores aqui, ó. Tu olha pra cá e tem uma pessoa virada pra lá, tá maluco.
Of where you're going to go and a piece of the house, a kind of tease, if you will. Then you lose sight.
Credo.
The road bends
O dinheiro dá pra fazer qualquer coisa? É verdade.
It rises, you come back around
Ai, um Porschezinho na garagem.
to the back side of the house and you're in a courtyard. Then there is a stair that takes you
Esse lustre,
down to the
não.
main level. Then
Tinha que ter alguma coisa errada, né? Não dá pra também não ter, né? Ah, mas porra, essa partezinha de fora é muito pica.
you can see the water. It is the space between things.
Aqui, pode. Forte. Forte, forte. Muito forte.
As you approach the house, the one opening in these two walls is where they intersect.
Olha esse Porschezinho, cara.
That brick wall, conceptually and literally, slides through the building. If you look carefully, you'll see the garage. That's the top of the garage door. It's a single pane garage door based on an airplane hangar. As you can see on both sides, it's glass all the way through.
esse glass all the way through. Meio foda, né? E dá-lhe escadarias. Mas esse ilustre senhor. Pelo amor de Deus, que coisa horrorosa. Com muitos o depois de horroroso.
Conceptually avoid. The stair needed to be figurative. It needed to be something which did not conform to either
Quem pintou aqui, puta que pariu, hein? Parece eu.
geometry. As you come down, you begin for the
Gostei da
first
escada,
time
vai.
to see the other side of the quarry. Terraces out here, all of that. So you have a sense that this is where the main public floor is. In here, then, is the room where I think they.
Pô, esse piso aí que não tá muito legal, não. Mudar o carro de lugar só pra aparecer, eu também faria isso. Bom, se eu tivesse um carro daquele ali, eu botaria ele aqui atrás, ó. Não tem erro. Pô, esse piso aí.
Spend the vast majority of their time, like many younger families.
Caralho.
It's got a great kitchen.
Pô. Esses negócios tudo à mostra, esses pratos aí, irmão. Pelo de gato, nossa senhora, pelo amor de Deus, guardem isso.
It's got a dining area and it has a sitting area.
Ah, pô, mano.
One of two ways in
perfeito isso aí,
which
velho.
one talks about building on a sloping site. The two ways you do it are the cave and the promontory.
Olha, o coisa tem fogão.
The two ways you do it are
Tem um fogão industrial no bagulho, uma chapa do lado. Porra,
the cave
foda demais.
and the
Casa de gente que não mora na casa e não tem bicho nem filho, provável. É o Ruiter. Tem a casa dele também, a gente pode ver um dia.
So as
A casa dele é um absurdo.
we
É
move from
um
one
bagulho
condition to the other, this
estratosférico.
end of the room is actually cozy, intimate, and then
Pô, esse
as you move
fogão ali é
further in,
sinistro, né?
it begins to reveal itself. You see that promontory up there, you see the little pathway that goes down to the
Pô, posso ser sincero? Eu lançaria um divã. Aí, ó. Bem aí, assim, ó. Tá ligado? Tipo, aqui assim. Bem do ladinho do vidro, assim, ó. Deixaria aquele sofazão pra tu deitar virado pra lá ainda. Porra!
and this
Pô, tinha que ter algum sofá pra tu deitar virado pra lá,
is
pô.
the
Que
corner
isso?
that is
Lembrando, lembrando que aqui, ó, apareceria uma pessoa, né? Vai lembrar que aqui, ó, teria uma pessoa.
cantilevered over the edge. So finally, at this point, you've got the waterfall, you've got the quarry, you've got that incredibly beautiful sheer face, almost like the Palisades on the other side. So in some ways, it's a calibrated sequence of reveal and of arrival.
Uma redezinha nessa sacada também seria o
It's
deboche.
very important that architecture induce movement.
Foda.
When every single room has the same view, there's really no reason to move. The interior
Caralho. Mas quem fez essa sacada deve ter comprado o terreno todo, só entra se invadir.
are
Pô, mano, não
relatively
sei, acho que
modest,
ali
and
deve ter
there's
outros
some
terrenos pro lado, tá ligado?
like if you
Não sei se isso aqui é um
look
terreno
at the
só.
lines in those rocks and you look at the little lines in this rug, there's this kind of reference that occurs there. Obviously, this
Caralho.
stone and that wall bear some formal relationship.
Bonito pra
There's
caralho.
also a little tiny balcony up here off of this side. So if you have some friend who smokes cigars, you know, it's a place where you could stash him.
Não, ele não entraria na minha casa. Se eu estivesse na casa dessa, ele não entraria, né, irmão?
Another thing
sacanagem.
we've increasingly done is when you have an open kitchen where everyone is hanging out, I think it's
faz.
important to have a back kitchen, a part of the kitchen that is out of sight. So looking over that way, you'll see that there is a second sink, a lot of storage. There are dishwashers back there.
Caralho.
So you could have a nice meal, all of that, and then put all the aftermath over there and deal with it tomorrow.
Achei inteligente isso aí, tá?
This can be divided off. You can
O que eu não vejo, o que os olhos não vê, o coração não sente.
close off this room more for
Bom,
acoustical
importante.
reasons than for privacy. This is then the
Tem TV,
media room, aka the polka dot room.
a.k.a.
It also happens to have a model of the house. We are
Caralho.
right about here now.
Não, com certeza, não tem criança nem gato, né? Com certeza. Isso aqui é o ultimato, né? Tá estampado dizendo
You can
isso.
see from this that the house is actually two boxes. It's this box, which was the garage that had the garage door that shut. This is the slot that goes through that we came in on. This is then the two-story piece. You can see the topography here and how dramatic this thing drops away.
Pô, eu ainda faria um bagulho aqui em cima ainda assim, ó, tá ligado? Tipo, um outro living. Uma sala aqui aberta, na verdade, né? Tipo, isso aqui embaixo. Lançava um aqui em cima também. Ou não, né? Não precisa.
Goes
Mais
back to
coisa.
Livy. If you read Livy about where the bedrooms go and where the public rooms go at a palazzo, there's a whole passage about how the ground floor is about
Pô, esse lustre ali.
the main floor, the piano nobile, where all the public rooms are. The bedrooms are above
Pedia que o senhor fazia também que. É.
that. I think subliminally it has to do with protection.
Vai encher de mato ainda, mas está crescendo.
This is in the primary bedroom, which
Justo.
has
Faz
a not
sentido.
bad view. The waterfall, the quarry, the far side. One of the things we sometimes don't take enough
Bonito. Pô, bonitaço.
thought to is
Pô, a gente vê cada coisa com mau gosto, né? É tão bonito ver um negócio bonito.
the kind of rituals of getting up in the morning, getting
É,
dressed,
lustre sempre é uma complicação, né? É incrível.
going to bed at night, packing a suitcase, all of that. A place to
Caralho.
toss your clothes in the evening or to lay out what you're going to wear. This is the primary bathroom, which has two little chapels off of it, one of which is the loo, the other of which is the shower. I hate brushing my teeth and looking at myself in the mirror. And I'd much rather stand here and look at that waterfall as I brush my teeth than stare at myself.
Essa banheira já me faria feliz também. Esse lustre parece alguma constelação.
Two
Aí
closets.
foge da minha.
I bet you that one's his. This is above the fireplace that's in the living room, coming directly up. This is also a sedum roof. It's just coming back from the winter. I think there's something magical about the sound of that waterfall.
Que isso?
It eliminates every piece of stray sound you can hear.
O que é isso, gente? Pelo amor de Deus, cara, que
This is the one
lugarzinho.
place where you could look down into that little courtyard. That's the beginning of a trail that goes around all of the water.
É, aí
goes back
voltamos
the
pro filme
other
de terror,
side,
né?
has
É, aparentemente deve ser sim só um
steps
terreno,
down
tá?
to the water,
Tem uma fogueira aqui, mano.
goes around all of the water, comes back the other
Olha aí.
side, has steps down to the water, the dock, the boat, all of that. As you may know, a lot of ponds have little fountains in them and things like that. That's to aerate the water and to prevent algae growth and things of that sort. In this case, we figured out another way of doing it, or David Kelly did, which was to just pump a little piece of the water up to the top and let it come and fall down as a waterfall. It has the other great advantage of giving a kind of tranquility throughout here. We worked from the beginning on this project with David Kelly, who is a landscape architect and a partner in Reese Robertson Partners. And working closely with him, there was an idea about vegetation that might initially
Cachoeira fake, mano.
wild.
Sim.
It is something whose color and its texture, it could have
Mas é
been
muito lindo. Eu tô...
dug
Pô,
out of the
muito lindo.
quarry and
Sério
ground
mesmo.
into gravel. So it has that kind of local character to it.
Tirando a parte do filme de terror, mano, e o lustre, pra mim...
This is the continuation of that brick wall that was outside. We chose a brick that was slightly irregular. It's not perfectly flat, and it gives a texture to this wall. There's a skylight that runs the entire length of this brick wall. The children's rooms have window seats.
Ih, tem children's rooms.
These trees are set here to give a little bit of privacy to these rooms. That's Reese Roberts. They designed these rooms, the furniture, the cool light fixtures. When you're here, there's a sense of stability. You don't feel like you're on top of a mountain or something. There are other things that are about the same height that you are. By stepping this terrace out,
Pô, irmão, eu consigo ver claramente algum amigo meu em cima desta merda, velho.
to follow the
Deus do
profile
céu.
of the quarry, we were able to lounge here and look at all of that. The dining area over here is probably the one that's the most exposed. I mean, it's the only place that's farther out than that. But, you know, from here, you can actually see the water, the dock, everything. I also think it's nice to look at the house from here. So it's a nice view of the house, I think.
Deve ser legalzão tu construir um bagulho desse assim, tu olhar e falar, porra, foda.
Biased, probably. What we were trying to do was eliminate the boundary between the inside and the outside. We didn't need the window to provide a foreground. We worked very hard for the spaces outside of that, the landscape, to provide that foreground. The idea is that perhaps there are no walls. Perhaps you're outside all the time. One of the things about our choice to locate the pool over there is because we're trying to distribute the amenities.
Caralho, é verdade, tem outra parte lá de trás ainda.
So this is a very different idea about landscape. May have something to do with a rock in a pool outside of Rio by Niemeyer.
Ih! Caralho, lançou um Niemeyer, viado. Porra.
Outside of Rio by Niemeyer.
Caralho, aí, foda.
When you're looking at all of those things, the quarry, the promontory, all of that, it's difficult to appreciate how beautiful just being in a woodland is and how magical that is.
Pô, esse silêncio é...
If there were two for a project that are my greatest ambition, it's for a project to appear effortless and inevitable. If
Ele é o
someone
Thanos,
comes
né?
over to the house,
Praticamente
I
o
would
Thanos.
prefer that they not be wowed. I would prefer that they not know who the architect is. I would hope that there would be a kind of ease, serenity, comfort.
Absurdo, mano.
I would love it if they began to notice and realize there's a lot more there than what
Compra
they
pra
can
mim.
see.
Inclusive, Renata,
I'm sure you've
meu
seen
aniversário é
films
amanhã.
or read books, and
Preciso?
you want to
Preciso
see it
falar?
again.
Preciso avisar?
You want to read it again.
Acho que deu pra entender, né?
Hear it
Tá.
again. You know there's more there, you've just seen parts of it.
Pô, que isso, mano. Pô, não tem nem o que comentar. Puta que casa. Pelo amor de Deus. Que é isso, mano? Vai tomar no cu. Com todo respeito, né?